Now coming to the nasopharyngeal opening, this is the nose. Okay, you have the inferior turbinate here, middle turbinate and superior turbinate. Just 1.25 centimeters posterior to the posterior end of inferior turbinate, you have your eustachian tube opening over here. Okay, this postero-superior opening will be much elevated outside into the, will be bulging, more bulging inside. So this bulge is called as torus tubarius. If you see here, okay, into the nasopharyngeal opening, this postero-superior part will more bulge towards the inside. Okay, this more bulge is called as torus tubarius. And behind, if there is an elevation, behind there will be a depression, right? So that depression here formed by this, due to this elevation, this depression is called as fossa of Rosenmuller. What is the clinical significance of fossa of Rosenmuller? It is the most common site of carcinoma nasopharynx. Most common site of origin of carcinoma nasopharynx, right? Coming to the other parts of the eustachian tube, okay, so we'll be having the muscles. So muscles, acting on eustachian tube, which connects to the eustachian tube, are levator vellae palatini, tensor vellae palatini, salpingopharyngeus. Okay, so normally your eustachian tube is closed, is kept closed. It opens during movements like swallowing, yawning and chewing. Okay, so during these movements, these muscles connected to eustachian tube will move and they will open the eustachian tube. Normally it is kept closed. Okay, instead of keeping it closed, if it is constantly open, then that condition is called as patulous eustachian tube. Maybe due to aging, muscular disorders, they may cause your patulous eustachian tube. It is seen in patients with rapid weight loss, okay, or third trimester pregnant patients. Pregnancy, third trimester, you can see this condition commonly. So what happens here? Right? So this is nasopharyngeal opening, this is middle ear opening. Normally it is kept closed, right? So in case of patulous eustachian tube, whenever you inhale, okay, whenever you inhale and exhale, whenever you inhale and exhale air, what happens, as this tube is constantly kept open, the patient will be hearing his own respiratory voices. So patient hears his own respiration, as well as he also hear his own voices, because down the larynx, isn't it, down the larynx, so a voice will be produced, it will be coming, and through the nose and through the oral cavity the sounds will come out. But if this eustachian tube is kept open, this produced voice by the larynx will also enter directly from the eustachian tube into the middle ear, so that will be heard very clearly. So patient hearing his own voices is called as autophony, right? Also patient will be hearing his own respiration, right? The breath sounds, which are inspiration and expiration, all these he will be very easily entering your middle ear. and he will be hearing these sounds as well. Okay, so when you see through otoscope, when you see with the help of an otoscope, what happens when there is an inspiration, when the air is drawn towards the lungs, okay, towards the lungs, what happens when the air enters inside, okay, into the lungs, what happens, there will, this is inspiration is a negative pressure, right? Due to the negative pressure, the air from the middle ear will also pulled inside, right? So when there is an inspiration, due to the negative pressure, the air is sucked inside. So the tympanic membrane, due to the negative pressure, will be moving inward. When there is an expiration, it is a positive pressure. Air will be pushed out by the lungs. So when air is pushed out, it also enters here. When this air is pushed here, this will move outside. So there will be movements of the tympanic membrane that you can see on otoscopy. So on otoscopy, tympanic membrane movements synchronous with respiration are seen. Okay, and the treatment for this is mainly ask the patient to gain the weight, or if there is weight gain, then ask the patient to have weight loss. Okay, and oral potassium iodide can be tried, right? And if still not getting responded to medical treatment, surgical treatment like cauterization of eustachian tube can be done, or a grommet can be inserted in the tympanic membrane. So these are the treatment options that are present for patulous eustachian tube. And coming to the barotrauma, if you come with the barotrauma, see on land, okay, when you are on the land, there will be some sort of atmospheric pressure. 1 atmosphere pressure will be there, isn't it? When you go up into the air, when you go up in a flight ascent, there will be less air pressure. But when you go into a sea, there will be increased more than 1 atmosphere. Here it will be less than 1 atmosphere. So as you go up, the air pressure in the surrounding decreases. One of the functions of your eustachian tube is ventilation of the middle ear. So we see what are all the functions of eustachian tube. Mainly the functions of the eustachian tube are ventilation of the middle ear. That means it ventilates the middle ear. So during ventilation, what happens? The air from outside will enter into your, okay, the air from outside, okay, because this middle ear is a closed cavity and eustachian tube is most of the times kept closed. Whenever while you do these movements like swallowing movement or yawning or chewing type movements, then the eustachian tube opens and air from the outside, when which one you inspire, that will also enter your middle ear, as well as there will be air exchange that occurs. So outside pressure will be equalized with that of the middle ear pressure whenever your eustachian tube opens. So that is ventilation of the middle ear is one of the function of the eustachian tube. Main function, equalization of the middle ear pressure with that of the surrounding. And other thing is drainage of the middle ear secretions. So whatever secretions that are forming in the middle ear, they should be drained into outside. So that is the only way to drain the outside is your eustachian tube. While you swallow or while you chew or while you yawn, your eustachian tube will open and those minimal secretions will be drained out. If they are not draining, if there is eustachian tube block, accumulation of the fluid will occur inside, which may further the bacteria can invade and cause the acute suppurative otitis media laterum. Okay, and other function is protection of middle ear, protection from nasopharyngeal sound pressure. Okay, whatever the sounds you speak, whatever all the sounds are coming up, as well as the sounds hitting into your oral cavity and through your nasopharynx area, that cannot enter directly into the middle ear due to this eustachian tube being closed. Okay, also from reflex secretions like reflex, acid reflex like things cannot enter as it is closed and cannot damage the middle ear, right? So these are the functions. So when you are going in a flight, right, when you are going on a flight, okay, when you are going on a flight and during descent, what happens? Okay, during descent, what happens? There is a surrounding pressure will keep on increasing. When the surrounding pressure increases, what happens? when the surrounding pressure increases, what happens? If there is a eustachian tube block, okay, so if there is a eustachian tube, patient is not chewing or yawning or doing any movements, okay, what happens? There is a outside atmosphere, okay, there is no equalization of the pressure with the outside with the middle ear is not happening. So during a flight descent, the outside pressure is gradually increasing, okay, but the inside pressure is that of the outer only. So it is gradually becoming till 1 atmosphere pressure as it is coming down. But here there is less than 1 atmosphere pressure, okay. So what happens? This high pressure, here it is low pressure. So what happens? This membrane will be pulled inward, okay, high pressure to low pressure. So this will be pulled inward. There will be TM retraction, okay. So due to sudden acute retraction, there will be blood vessel acute inflammation of the blood vessels will be getting engorged and acute inflammation of the tympanic membrane will be there. Sudden patient will be having a sudden pain attack, okay. Many of you might have experienced whenever there is a flight descent, you might be experiencing this ear pain after flight landing. This is because of this mechanism. So you need to keep on, to prevent this, you need to keep on chewing or yawning or swallowing movements. You need to keep on moving, keep on doing. Or after, if you have any attack, you can do Valsalva. Close your nose and mouth and forcibly push the air out from the lungs. What happens? For the air, there is no other way to escape. It will enter into your eustachian tube and pushes the tympanic membrane outward, right? And this is about barotrauma, right? And if there is severe pain, symptomatically give some analgesics as well as start a short antibiotic course also, right? There are differences between adult eustachian tube and infant eustachian tube, okay? Adult eustachian tube is approximately 36 mm in length, but infant eustachian tube is nearly half the length of that. And your adult eustachian tube is narrower, okay, but a eustachian tube in infant is wider, okay. If you take in adult, it will be arranged at an angle of 45 degree to the horizontal, but if you take in an infant, approximately it will be making only an angle of 10 degrees, okay. That will be the difference between your adult and infant eustachian tube. And also cartilages are rigid in adult but flaccid in infants. Obviously any cartilage will be flaccid